This is a spoiler warning for any game that came out in 2023. Please be advised there might be an in-depth discussion about it, as this is a countdown of the top 10 games that did come out that year. So, please be warned. Again, this is a spoiler warning for any game that came out in 2023. Hello, welcome to the Joystick Frequency. It's a video game podcast that doubles as a video game book club where you're a member just by listening in. I'm your host, Trent. Joining me are my two co-hosts, Walker.
Oh, hey, it's me. I played no games.
And Brady.
That's me. I played quite a few games.
And they mentioned the number of games that they're playing because it is time. It is that time of the year again. That's right, we're discussing our game of the year for 2023.
But wait, who are you?
Back.
Oh wait, no, you are. Fuck me. I'm sorry, just mute me.
Now that everyone's back from all their travels and settled down after the holidays, we finally have time to sit down and do this recording. It also let us get a little bit more time on a couple of games that we didn't quite finish yet. So we're bringing you the best list that we got. We each have our individual list that we'll go over and whittle down to a list that we will combine cumulatively to be the podcast's top 10.
Very scientific method we have here on Joystick Frequency. And it's going to be vibes alone.
Vibes are science.
Can y'all believe this is the second Game of the Year podcast for us?
Yay! Look at us.
Look at
we've been doing this for 2 years now.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
We're going to die soon.
All right. Moving on. But no, in all seriousness, I think either this time last year or maybe it was about in a month or so, like we had our first in-person session.
Session? Our first in-person session.
Listen here, this fuck wanted me to go over his Xbox repertoire for 7
Oh,
minutes.
God.
And he's going to call me out on one fucking word.
Sorry.
If this is how we are right now, it's going to get heated whenever we get to the actual countdown.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to throw some spice into the mix instantly. Get us riled up.
I'm already thinking of you both as less human than I was earlier.
Incredible.
For the fight.
Interesting. So, the way that I believe we are doing this, Walker, you came up with the idea for it, so how about you tell them how we're going to go through this list?
Yeah, so pretty straightforward. We're all going to kind of go over our individual lists first. These are our personal top 10s of the year. We're each going to just have a brief chunk of time talking about them, going from the bottom of the list all the way up to the top. Some of us, and by some of us, I mean me, does not have a full list of 10, so I'm going to supplement it just a touch with a couple of games I started, but have not had a chance to fully dig my teeth into. So we'll start there, move our way through, kind of passing the ball back and forth. If we come across a game that's on one of our lists at a low point, but it's on a higher point on someone else's list, we'll actually talk about it a little further down the line, so we can all have a little group discussion. Yeah, I think that's basically it. We're going to just kind of pass the ball around until we get closer to the number one slot.
And I just want to go on and stress as well that we do this in our free time. We all have full-time jobs and everything, plus social lives. So even though me and Brady were able to get a complete top 10, Walker has a significant other that he lives with and plays games with all the time, including reading, watching shows and everything. So it's not guaranteed that every year, this is just the first one that's come up, but it's not guaranteed every year that we will have a top 10. So we'll have to see how that goes as we continue down the line.
I am trying my best. Hey, who played games? I didn't play games.
So I'm pretty sure most of us probably played games that came out last year for our month anyway, for the time that we've had off from the podcast. Unless anyone has anything else specifically they want to mention, should we just go on and get right to the meat of it?
Let's jump in.
Let's dive head first into this absolute bloodbath in waiting.
All right. Walker, you're the one that's only has 9, right? So,
oh, wow. Gotta fucking call me out instantly, huh?
Yeah, so why don't you start so that can get as far behind the podcast and people forget about it as quick as possible.
Sure. All right, so I will use my number 10 slot here to talk about 2 games that I started playing. I have not gotten very deep into, but I just want to give them basically a quick shout out. So far, Lies of P has been a pretty fun Souls-like style game. From my understanding, it has a very similar combat and feel to Bloodborne, which has been a game that I've been interested in trying for a while now. But yeah, it's a very dark fantasy setting, but it's an urban fantasy with the title character Pinocchio being the main playable character here. So it's a reimagining of the whole story, where a bunch of puppets in the world have gone mad and just turned on people one day, and instead of acting as the working class that they were prescribed to be, went insane and just started killing everything in sight. So with some help from yeah, good for them. Rise up, puppets.
Down with the bourgeoisie.
Down with the bourgeoisie. So we are going to take the role of Pinocchio and do what Pinocchio does, which is, with the help of the Blue Fairy and a little friend called Geppetto, a little voice in your ear, or not Geppetto, Jesus.
Jiminy?
Yeah, Jiminy, he's the one. A little voice in your ear with Jiminy. Pick up a sword and your giant metal arm and just go and fuck shit up. So far, go ahead.
So which one of the three is it? Is it Geppetto, Jiminy, or Jesus?
Yes. So you are... This, so far, has been pretty entertaining. It's pretty fast-paced combat. It's got a system where if you block an attack, you will take a chunk of damage, but if you strike back and hit the enemy with a series of hits, within a certain window, you can actually recover that health back. This does not go for an instance where you do not block, but in the instance where you block right as the attack hits, you hit that perfect parry, you lose no health, and you're able to get the block out really nicely. It also offers a system where you can customize your weapons as you pick them up, so each weapon comes with a handle and a blade, and you can mix and match, which adds different effects and special attacks to everything. It switches the stats around. So far, pretty fun. I would recommend it. I think Trenton, you specifically would really like it. It's been enjoyable. It's on Game Pass. I would recommend it. And then my other number 10 slot, I'm just going to quickly go because I went way too long on that one already. Cassette Beasts. It is a Pokemon-inspired adventure where your character washes up on this beach of a mysterious island and is immediately confronted with a bunch of weird creatures. First thing that attacks you is a hermit crab that's wearing a safety cone on its back, and you have to proceed to beat it in the same way you would a Pokemon battle. It offers a very interesting view of the world where instead of capturing monsters and using them as part of your team, you make use of a special cassette player, ? The game's weird, you just kind of have to accept some things and move on. But using this cassette player, you can transform yourself into a copy of any monsters that you scan and use that form to attack the enemy yourself. And by doing this and capturing different monsters, you also gain field effects. So if you capture one that can glide, you can actually glide around the world a little bit. You gain that effect just as part of your normal human sprite. I think there's a speed-based one, and I haven't gotten too far into it yet. But the story is very intriguing so far. It seems to be messing with some surprisingly eldritch-inspired creatures. And it has really caught my attention. I'm excited to dig some more into it. All right, my number 9 spot is a game that I actually played with my partner this year. It is called A Highland Song. It is very interesting. It seems to be kind of, I don't want to say roguelike, but it encourages multiple runs. You play as a girl who's living in the Scottish Highlands, and you are going on a trip to visit your uncle who lives basically on the other side of the country. So in this game, you travel from one side of the map to the other by, most of the movement is left to right 2D style, but you have to actively go through and discover certain portions on that 2D map that allow you to advance further back into the background to the next set of mountains and stuff to climb. There's a lot of balancing between stamina, managing your overall exhaustion meter, So if you take a tumble, it will knock a huge chunk out of your energy for the day. And you're given a 7-day window that you're trying to make it to your uncle in this lighthouse on the other side of the map. So it encourages like a lot of discovery, knowledge of the game. Like it encourages those multiple runs, and through the whole thing, you get a whole lot of fun. I don't think it's 100% Scottish like mythology and stuff, but it is Scottish inspired storytelling with a lot of really like fun little stories intermixed into it. The main character will kind of talk and tell stories of when she was a kid, her family, why she's leaving from her current house with her mom and her brother to go visit her uncle specifically. And then there's a bunch of hidden secrets throughout the map, whether that be little like items that you find on the ground that you can kind of mix and match with the environment in interesting ways. You can stumble across a graveyard that appears to be haunted. If you stay in a house nearby for the night, you literally get spooked out of it by voices that you hear. And there's a lot of really cool interactions. And one part that I have yet to mention is absolutely brilliantly composed music that plays in these segments where if you have a large distance to cover between like point A and point B, just left or right, where there's not a whole lot happening between the mountains or something like that, there is this rhythm-based game that plays with this composed music where you have to tap on the beat to the song itself as your character chases a deer further up into the mountains. Very fun, very cute story. It only takes a couple of hours to beat, and I would highly recommend it. It's beautiful art style and a fun little look into some Scottish culture and history, I feel. In my number 8 place is another game that I played with my partner, is Disney Illusion Island. This is a 2D platformer with a very similar movement mechanic to Ori and the Blind Forest, where you have a very large map spread around that spans a massive distance with tons of just little platforming puzzles and collectibles to run around and collect. It's a cute little story. Doesn't take too long. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, but the overall experience was very enjoyable. If you like some of the Disney characters and you have a couple people to play with, it supports up to 4 players at once, and it's just a really good time to run through, just pick up some items, hang out, and listen to some classic Disney banter. It's in the style of the new Disney Mickey Mouse shorts, which have a lot of attitude to them. So it was a good time. And then in my number 7 spot, and this is the last one for this little block here, Hogwarts Legacy is actually at number 7. So I had a really fantastic time with this game. It was just great to be within this world. It kind of fulfilled the niche that I needed it to for a Harry Potter style game. And yeah, I had a really good time with it. The spell slinging was fun. They interacted with the different creatures.
So, I also have Hogwarts Legacy on my list.
Oh shit, okay. I will save my
It's
discussion
a little
for
bit
it.
higher up than number 7 for me.
Cool. We'll save it for then. But general thoughts, really liked it. I had a good time with it. And the fact that it's at 7 just goes to show how much I enjoyed some of these other games. Who wants to take it from here?
I can go next.
Yeah.
So my number 10 game of 2023 is a game I picked up very, very recently after the last recording. It is Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora.
Oh, shit.
It is a Ubisoft game about the blue people. If you've played Far Cry, it's Far Cry, but Avatar. Obviously, there are some differences, but a lot of the gameplay formula matches up with stuff you see in Far Cry. You are an avatar, or a Navi, I guess, because you're not a human. You're a Navi who was picked up and put into like a school by the humans, which is creepy, and also an intentional reference to past historical atrocities.
Just brush over that real fast.
Just scoot on by it. You develop the ability to use human weapons and Navi weapons, and then you go through killing, freeing Pandora from the humans that are invading and polluting the place with your bow. And you get one of the flying creatures, and you get to ride things, and it's super fun. If you like that world, it's a beautiful game. Like graphically, it's incredible. My number 9 spot is going to go to a game that was very highly anticipated for me, but didn't end up getting so high in the list of games this year, which is Starfield. It is a good game, and on a different year, it would have ended up a lot higher on my list. But as it is, it felt like Bethesda just copy and pasted their Fallout 4 Skyrim formula without making any changes or innovations in the last 10 years. So, solid game, but nothing groundbreaking.
It's a Bethesda outing.
It's a Bethesda outing. I like the setting. I think they could have been a little bit more creative in some of the procedurally generated stuff. A lot of the side missions became super repetitive. I only got about 20 hours in, and landing on planets and fighting bandits, I was on the same map no less than 5 to 7 times, invading the same outpost, just on a different planet. So I think there's work to be done before procedural generation can really be used to build a world, but it was still a good game. My number 8 game is going to be Atomic Heart.
Oh.
This was a kind of Soviet BioShock a little bit, where you have a Soviet paradise built out of a mad scientist testing area, and you're a guy that got hired to go through and clean up after a big disaster happens. There are a bunch of weird robots. It's kind of retro futuristic designs. It's a lot of fun. It's nothing deep, but it's a good romp for a little bit if you're looking for a game to play that's just quick and actiony, and also a little trippy. Number 7 for me is, I might catch some flack from this because of some of the media that's come out around it, but my number 7 pick is Total War Pharaoh, which is
this?
the newest full title released by Creative Assembly. Total War Pharaoh is, again, if you've listened to this podcast, you know I'm a fan of strategy games like the Total War series. I've talked at length about Total War Warhammer on this podcast a couple times. Total War Pharaoh is Creative Assembly's attempt to go back to a more historical type of Total War game. It's set in the late Bronze Age during the collapse. You can play as either Egypt or the Hittites or the Canaanites, or the 3 factions. You can play with a couple of different factions within those countries that you can choose to play and take over the Bronze Age world. It was a little controversy that it was a bit overpriced on release, which I agree with, but recent decisions by CA mean they're lowering the price and adding more content to the game. And for the price it is right now, I think it's absolutely worth it. And a very fun game with a lot of new mechanics.
What were the prices on it?
It was so Creative Assembly has 2 basic types of game, where it's a full game and what they call a saga game, which is like a shorter scope. So like the full game was Total War Rome 2, where they had all of Europe and North Africa and some of Western Asia as the map, and you could take over and conquer the whole map, with 20 different factions you could play as. And those games sell for like $60, 65-ish, like a full price game. And then they have what they call sagas, which are like they had one that was just like a civil war in Great Britain, where you could play as different, like you play as the Irish, the Scottish, the Welsh, the English, and a bunch of different factions in that. And it's a much smaller scope, and it's called a saga game, and those are like $40. So the difference is the scope of the game is typically associated with lower price. This is a smaller scope game that was originally priced as a full price game.
I see the issue. Okay.
But after some blowback from the community, they lowered the price, refunded people that bought it at full price, and are working on some free updates to add more content to make it a more worthwhile purchase.
Okay, well that's cool to actually end up listening.
Yeah, CA has I could do a whole podcast session on some of the recent CA controversies they've been having, but they've had a rough year, and they're making some steps to kind of turn it around that I am cautiously optimistic about, and that I will believe when I see.
Hell yeah, I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
That is my little batch.
Sweet, sweet.
Trent, why don't you tell us about yours?
Alright, so mine 10 to 7, we'll start from the bottom. So, number 10 I have coming in, The Bookwalker, Thief of Tales. This was a very interesting game. You play as a imprisoned, shackled writer who is no longer able to write anymore, but he does have the power to go into books. So, in order to try and get someone to take his shackles off so he can write again, he starts going into books and stealing items out of them for a mystery man that promises to take off his shackles. And you're going in and you find a companion that you slowly get to know over the course of the series and figure out that he was actually robbed from one of his books, and you slowly piece together who he is as well as you go through. And there's a couple of nice little twists at the end that really caught my eye and made me really appreciate this game. So that's why I decided to put it on the list. Number 9, if we go back to last year's GOTY, I had a couple of games on there that were party games or games that I play with a group of people. Well, there was one that came out this year it was a blast, and I swear every time I try to get a group to play it, no one wants to get on and play it, or someone doesn't have it, so they don't want to leave behind anyone. But the second I'm doing something else and can't go and play it right now, they're all playing it. So it's only ranked so low because I haven't gotten that much of a chance to play it. It's Party Animals. I played this a little bit with Brady and Casa whenever they came to visit this year, and we had a blast just beating the crap out of these stuffed animals, Battle Royale style.
You had a blast beating the crap out of me and Casa. That's what happened.
We had AI as well.
We also had AI.
Yeah, we also had AI, and y'all had fun beating them up. And I would let y'all fight the AI at one-on-one, and then I would come and throw you out of the ring afterwards.
Oh, how magnanimous. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Besides, there were also a couple of rounds that I lost, I remember, because, the AI that I was trying to get thrown out, kept charging me, so... either way, it's a really fun game to play with a group of people, especially if you just want to see these, cute little furry animals just pull out a bat and absolutely go ham on another one. They have several different game modes, including the just regular Battle Royale mode. They got hockey, they got football. They have this one where you take gummy bears and take them to a little patch that you have to pull a lever to open up with team mode, and it's actually a lot of fun. If you've ever watched a Schmitty video of Party Animals, that is the kind of chaos that almost always happens in this game, and it's a blast. My number 8 is going to be Bramble the Mountain King. So, Bramble the Mountain King is a Scandinavian folklore game, very similar to a Limbo or a Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons game. And it's a narrative story game that you're just going through. You have very limited controls. Most of it's just jumping and grabbing onto things and climbing and just basically platforming your way through the levels. And it's very it's not scary, it's more of unnerving. Most of the scares that happen aren't exactly jump scare. It's more of okay, that's a little creepy. Okay, it's getting even more terrifying. Okay, I'm gonna see that in my nightmares. Okay, cool, great. And you find that most of the stuff that you're seeing is based in Scandinavian folklore, and it was a blast to play through that game and searching for my sister, and I actually 100%ed that one, except for the achievement to do the entire game without dying, because you're gonna die in this game a lot. I think I had 100 deaths in my one playthrough. It takes about 4 hours to complete, so it's a nice short game. Definitely perked my interest. And surprisingly, my number 7 is also Hogwarts Legacy, which I'm sure we will be discussing later whenever Brady reveals where it is on his.
It's hiding there somewhere.
So I'll refrain from the conversation until then.
Not much longer, guys.
For now, let's pick up with Walker with his 6 through 4.
Yeah, so at my number 6, we are looking at the DLC, oh yeah, here we go, for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the Hidden Treasure of Area Zero, the Teal Mask and Indigo Disc. Fuck me, that's way too long of a name. So this was just another reason to go back and play Scarlet and Violet again. So far, I just wrapped up the DLC last night, finishing the little post-credit scene that you can find in the Indigo Disc. Has a bunch of fun little lore tidbits. You get your legends back, and they went through and made some very fun areas just to run around in. It's still got the same holdups as some of the past things that we talked about last year when the game originally came out. Same technical issues, but it was still a fun time to just run around and mess around in.
Yeah. It wasn't on my list, but I did also play these DLCs. So I just want to say you're 100% right. They added a lot. I'm just so glad they added Metagross into Pokemon. Like,
Yes.
just them adding some of my favorites to these new areas have been almost worth the DLC to me.
I was so excited to see a couple of missing ones like Blitzel and Minior come back.
Yes.
My
Some
children.
that haven't been in the most recent games, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Like in Sword and
Yes.
Shield didn't have the full Pokédex, and there are a couple that have made it.
The Blitzel
my
line.
boy.
Blitzel
All the starters.
hasn't been in a game since its debut, which is kind of crazy.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a shame they
so-
brought it back.
Wait, say that again?
Blitzel and
Oh, I thought you said
Zebstrika?
Floatzel. My bad. Blitzel's cool.
Yeah, Blitzel and
Wait,
Zebstrika
what's-
haven't been in a mainline Pokemon game since their debut in Black and White 2.
I'm kind of offended that Brady doesn't like Floatzel, but we don't have time for that conversation. So
It's wild that a
let's
Pokemon that's
continue.
water type needs a fucking floaty to swim. And that's all I'll say about that.
And the starters are back. Hey, everyone loves starters. Okay. At number 5, a game that I talked about relatively recently, a wonderful collection of language-based puzzles. We have Chance of Sonar. Did anyone else go through and play this by chance?
I did not have
say I
time,
did.
though.
No worries. It's genuinely super, super fun. If you like solving puzzles, learning about things like the world through actual context clues and the world itself, environmental storytelling, and you like that good little itch you get when you solve a puzzle and you get like a little ping telling you that you did things right, this is definitely a fantastic game. If you want more information, go back to a previous podcast and listen, because it is very good. I would highly recommend it. And then at number 4, a game that I think we're probably going to talk about in more detail here in a little while, we actually have Jedi Survivor, the new Star Wars game.
Yep.
This
It's on
game,
my list later.
yep,
It's on
it
my
was.
list.
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I fucking loved this game. If not for the top 3 games, oh my god. This was just... The quality of games that I played this year were all incredibly high. And yeah, that's it for my 6 through 4.
Cool. So I'll go next with my number 6, which is a game that I'm pretty sure is not going to be on anybody else's list. Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader.
You called it 40,000. You're not a true fan.
Yeah, I was reading it online. I wasn't like I was reading the Google entry to make sure I got the developer right. It was developed by Owlcat Games, and I also normally just call it Rogue Trader because I'm a true fan, and the
Fair.
40K is implied because I know what a Rogue Trader is.
I don't.
Yeah, this is an isometric, top-down, turn-based tactical RPG where you play as a rogue trader or someone who has special dispensation from the God Emperor of Mankind to do business with heretics and people outside of the Empire, including Xenos and other aliens. Which is really the only way to do an RPG in the 40K universe because everyone else is so bound by religion and bureaucracy that they can't do some of the fun shit that you want to do as a video game player. But all of that is beside the point. This is a very well-made game. It's a very, what you would call a dense game. So if you like opening a game, hopping into it, and being able to have fun playing it within the first 10 hours of the game, this might not be for you. This is a very steep learning curve when it comes to like the combat and the lore and the reading an essay whenever you talk to a character without any voice lines. It's very much like an early 2000s style game, if that makes sense. Like the only thing that, like, the graphics are nice-ish, but like the dialogue and like the actual physical mechanics of the game are all basic enough to have come out in 2005 to 7, but it also has that what's the word I'm looking for? Unpolished charm of a game that people actually cared about making, if that makes sense.
The lovely jank.
It's a little indie. That's the word I'm thinking for. It's a little bit indie, but it's jank, but it has a lot of passion in it, and it has a lot of interesting lore things for anyone interested in 40K. It has a lot of depth tactically. Like, if it didn't take so long to get your builds online, I would have already restarted this game several times over to try out different things. Very fun game. I recommend it. That's my number 6, Rogue Trader. My number 5 is a game that I also think nobody else played, which is Spider-Man 2 for the PlayStation.
Oh, unfortunately, I didn't play it.
I think the main reason nobody else played it is because nobody else has a PS5 yet.
Yeah.
And it is a PS5 exclusive. It is a very solid game. Builds on the foundation that the Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales built and improves upon it. You get new mechanics, new graphics, new enemies, new everything. The only reason this isn't higher is because the first game was so good there's not really much you can do to make it better without it just being a copy. So there is, like, it's a little less original in the ways that it's good than some of the other ones on the list, if that makes sense. Because it had a Spider-Man 1 to copy off of to be good. But it was still very, very good in its own right. So it has made the number 5 spot on my list. Number 4 is a game that you have heard about on this list already, Hogwarts Legacy.
Hey, there it is.
So let's chat about Hogwarts Legacy.
You two go first, because I kind of started talking a bit.
Yeah, I mean, Hogwarts, the world, has a lot of nostalgia for me. I read all the books growing up, watched all the movies as they were coming out. I was very much a Harry Potter kid, so...
Like, yeah, our generation, like, really grew up with these characters at the same time they were, so...
And getting to go and see the castle, like, and walk around it, and interact with it, and do magic with it.
And explore it and find the hidden nooks and crannies and secrets.
Solving all the puzzles, flying around on the broomstick, finding all these creatures that you've only seen description or like read descriptions about and haven't even seen some.
Or seen like really janky early 2000s movie CGI of them.
Yeah.
Boy, the Thestrals look so much nicer than this. But yeah, it was incredible. It was everything I would have wanted out of a Harry Potter game. It stayed away from the original lore a lot by going earlier in time, so it didn't mess with any of that. You got to interact with all the things in Hogwarts I would have wanted to interact with. You got to fly on brooms. You got to do magic. You got to do potions and magical creatures. Honestly, it had everything.
Except Quidditch.
Except Quidditch, but
Surprisingly,
I don't like sports games
actually.
in general. I don't think making a magic sport would make me enjoy it anymore.
I don't know, man. I could have gone a few rounds on Quidditch.
Yeah,
I absolutely would have if it was in the game. I don't know why I'm lying.
Yeah, from exploring the Forbidden Forest to fighting like these goblins in a very very in-depth like combat system where you have like your actual protections and counters and certain spells that affect certain creatures and stuff like that, was really like they hit it out of the park with this. I was very happy with this. I didn't finish it yet. It's on my list. It will be something I finish this year. I think I just fell off of it whenever because we started getting swarmed by there was that influx of games in the middle of May or June or something. And I was just like, I gotta set this down. And so just I feel like if I would finish it, maybe it would be higher. But I thoroughly enjoyed that I was able to dive into this little universe that's kid me wishes he could have back in the day.
Yeah, it really meant a lot to me, I think. Being able to run around and explore this world that I just grew up to love, and I think I speak for all of us in that.
Well, Awesome. So that's my 6-4.
All
Okay.
right.
Trent, what do you got for us?
My number 6 is another party game, another fun game to play with friends. Lethal Company. Guys, have either of you played this game yet?
No, I want to, but no.
I've heard good things.
Yeah, same.
I think I might revive like Among Us nights once every 2 weeks, once a month or something, just to play this game with our group because I think it would be so much fun. It's an idea like I've been like waiting to like mention just because like things have been super busy. You guys were out of country for a while as well, but this game I've only played 6 sessions since it came out, and each one of them was a blast. I can't get over how funny it is. Like, just proximity chat in general makes things so much funny. It's so much funnier whenever you hear the cutout of proximity chat and you're like, what happened? You turn the corner and you just see someone's body being dragged down the hallway by a bracken and you're just like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we're leaving now. And you just run out of the dungeon to get back to the ship. The amount of tension whenever you're the last alive and you're sneaking to the ship to try and take off so that you keep all your loot, and you see a monster and you see that it's a dog and you're like, I cannot make a single sound. If I do, I am dead. And you're just sitting there trying to creep up to it. And then they decide, hey, we're all dead. We're going to press the button to have the ship take off early. And then you have to like sprint towards it and then end up getting eaten by the dog. And just like they do so many like unique things in this game that's really funny, and like it's spur of the moment humor, and you're just like, it gets to a point to where it's no longer scary, to where it's super funny, to where it's scary again. The original scary is just like the tenseness of creeping around the place. Then it gets to the funny. Then it gets, most of the scares become jump scares because it's only whenever the thing is like super close or you turn the corner and there it is. I love playing this game. I hope to play it a lot more. If you've been watching any sort of like YouTube TikToks or anything like that, you probably have seen at least a bit of this game. So I would definitely suggest giving it a shot. My number 5 game is Dredge. I don't think either of you played this game, right?
No, it's
Nope.
one of those ones that's on my backlog, though.
Yeah, this is an Eldritch fishing game that's made me appreciate a mechanic in a game that I hadn't experienced before, and I really like. Like, I found out it's really my shit, and that's inventory management. Whenever your inventory is like shaped different, like the things you put in your inventory are shaped differently, and you actually have to manage like how you put it in your bag to make everything fit.
You should play Tetris.
Yeah, exactly. You're playing Tetris with your bag, and it's really unique mechanic that I think like really I don't know exactly how many, but like there were like 3 or 4 games that I heard about that like had this in the game.
The Deus Ex games have this in them?
I don't
Deus
remember
Ex, Resident Evil. I think that Signalis game I tried to get us to play a while back is similar.
Okay. I might end up going to that. Be more willing to go to that now with that because it was so much fun. Like going and fishing and knowing that I'm limited to a certain amount of bag space because the fish is freaking shaped in the T, like the T shape from Tetris instead of a normal straight up and down fish. Going through catching all the abominations, and I actually 100% of this game. Catching all the abominations and all the different fish was super fun. You get crab pots that you can throw in to catch crabs and all these mutated crustaceans, and there are also these like monsters that sit there, and whenever night rolls around, they try to get at you and make you paranoid and crazy to where the paranoia literally causes rocks that don't exist in the daytime to appear in front of your ship that you could crash into, and whenever you crash into something, it takes out a spot of your inventory, and that spot could literally anything, and it doesn't rearrange your inventory whenever it breaks that. Instead, you just lose whatever item was on that spot. And so it's a lot of fun balancing the inventory to make sure you have what you need with the fact that you're being chased by these eldritch giant fish, that you're looking for these relics and just trying to make it back to port before day. like I had a lot of fun with this game. It was super fun. My number 4 one I know we will be talking about later, so we won't have the discussion here. But my number 4 is Baldur's Gate 3.
A travesty, honestly. How dare you?
Yeah, I felt that coming.
I feel like I've already made my opinions known on your placement of Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, we'll get to that discussion later, but I have some actual gripes about this game, but I also have like a lot of praise for it as well. So we will get into that whenever it comes up in y'all's, or well, I guess both of y'all's, because I know it's up there for both of you. So with that, we have finished 4 through 10. So Walker, tell us about your top 3.
Okay, yeah, can do. Once again, I would like to just say a hearty fuck you for putting Baldur's Gate 3 into 4th place. That is a tragedy. It belongs in 3rd place. And that is all I'll say about that until we get to Brady.
Well, y'all are both wrong, and you can't even spell Baldur's Gate. Neat.
I spelled it.
Fuck you!
Hey, if you look down where
Yeah,
I did,
no,
I did it right.
you notice I didn't say anything when you spelled it.
Yeah. You're proud of me, Dad?
I am, a little bit, yes.
Well, despite the fact that I can't spell, this game is fucking phenomenal, and we'll get to it. But my number 2 game, which I feel like I'm going to be able to talk at length about here, is Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. For me, was just a fucking phenomenal game. There are just some games that are like just meant to be near the top of your list at the end of the year. Zelda's one of my favorite like franchises of all time ever since I was a kid. And this one took, I feel like, everything that was really, really great in Breath of the Wild and then just built on top of it, making the game just that much better. Is this a lot of bias? Absolutely. Just from all the build-up and waiting I did for it, being a fan for years, seeing all the fun animations and stuff. But the game itself has a genuinely phenomenal physics system, a genuinely phenomenal, like, story, the gameplay, all the, like, building and stuff that you can do in it. Just what I think is a damn near perfect game, specifically for me. And that brings us to number 1. And every now and then, I want to just state, my top 3 games here are literally all 10 out of 10s. So just take that into perspective. Every now and then, a game comes around that is built perfectly for you. And not even necessarily a game. It could be any kind of media, some music, just an experience of some kind that you witness and you're like, oh wow, my life genuinely, like my whole mentality on how I view the entire world has shifted. On a technicality.
You're welcome.
On a technicality, because... Sorry, one second. Give me half a second here.
Oh, it's Deep Rock Galactic. Duh.
Okay. On a technicality, because on December 7th, 2023, the Outer Wilds Archaeologists Edition dropped on Nintendo Switch. And this game is my number 1. And if this doesn't actually count as a technicality, I say fuck it, and we can just shift my whole list up 1. That is actually why I grabbed 2 games for my number 10 slot there. But yeah,
okay,
I just
hang on. The question: did you play it on Switch?
Huh?
Continue. Please go on.
No, I've been genuinely such like a space nerd my entire life, and this game kind of hit every single note it needed to for that. It is a game entirely built around exploration, discovery, figuring things out, and it is a rare case of a game where there's only I believe, 2 things that can count as actual, like, unlockable items / features, and that is something you get at the very, very start of the game, and something that is kind of hard to miss later on. Everything else, the only items that you gain is knowledge and the different applications of that knowledge and what it can mean. It's a game about trial and error, life and death, and it's genuinely just a phenomenal experience. Yeah, that is my number one. Unless, of course, it doesn't count because the game originally came out in 2019, and I definitely did not play the Switch version.
So the new version dropped on the 7th.
Yeah, December 7th, 2023.
And the new version was for the Switch?
It was for the Switch.
And have you played the game at all since December 7th?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not
I am
gonna make a fuss about it.
Yeah, I'm not going to
fine
be
with
particular
it.
about it because I assume we just won't include this
It's
one.
just
in
not
the-
in
the-
consideration for the
that's-
joystick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's fair.
Cumulative.
That's fair. More than fair. It is my
Yeah.
game of the year and probably one of my new favorite games of all time, if not my new favorite game of all time. Which I said last year for Tunic, so that's fun. That is now number 2.
Sometimes it happens. Back to
Sometimes it happens.
back. Look, the last 10 years have all been the hottest year on record.
Oh fuck! Oh
It's
no!
going around.
Oh no! Hey, you might want to play the Outer Wilds.
Before you can't anymore.
Yeah.
Before it's a reality.
Okay. So with my fun little goofs out of the way, that is my top 3 of the year.
Cool. So my number 3 is Final Fantasy 16. I think I'm the only one that played it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I honestly, whenever I hadn't seen it yet, I didn't think it was on your list.
Yeah, no, it was an incredible game. For sure deserves top 3. This is not exactly like the other Final Fantasy games. In my understanding, it's a little bit more action-based. It was my number 2 until September. And we'll get into why that happened. But a great game. Some of the coolest action sequences, like not mechanically the most interesting, not like even graphically the most interesting fight scenes I've ever seen. Although they are both of those, they are very mechanically and graphically challenging. But definitely rule of cool, some of the coolest fight scenes in any game that I've seen, because it's hard to come back from fighting a giant space dragon god fighting a giant dragon god in space while you are a fire demon god, and punching the shit out of that space dragon god. Like, I truly don't know how you beat that as far as gaming fantasies go. And it's full of really cool moments like that. So definitely number 3 is Final Fantasy 16. I can't wait for them to drop DLC so I have an excuse to play it again.
Do you think they're going to drop DLC for it?
I have absolutely no idea. I have done exactly zero research into DLC, and I stopped following their news sources after the game came out, so I don't know if they've announced anything.
I don't think they're dropping DLC because I think Rebirth.
That makes sense. But also that I will play.
Oh yeah.
I need to go play Final Fantasy the first part of it so I can be caught up. Anyway, yeah, that's my number 3. My number 2 game is Jedi Survivor.
Hell yes.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which I'm assuming we're going to be talking about a little bit later.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And Jedi Survivor was my number 1 game up until September, when my actual number 1 game came out, which is Baldur's Gate 3.
Yay!
I don't think my again, like Walker, any of these top 3 games could have been number 1 in a different year. Shit, Spider-Man 2 could have been number 1 in a different year. This has been a really great year for video games.
Genuinely excellent year.
Oh yeah, especially because like we have different lists and we're struggling with some of the like the Hogwarts Legacy to put it higher. Whenever that was like going into the year, one of the like most anticipated games this year.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Starfield, like where that landed.
Oof.
That
Yeah. Crazy.
fucking hell.
Baldur's Gate, 10 out of 10 game for me. Not quite the same level of experience that Walker has with Outer Wilds, but what he was saying about sometimes you just find a game that seems tailor-made for you and what you like out of gaming, and for me that is Baldur's Gate.
Like, the level of detail that's in it, the size of the map and the world, this is genuinely as close as to a, like, D&D campaign that you can get within it. And even then, there's still some places I feel like it excels more than D&D.
Yeah, I have done probably 4 to 5 campaigns in Baldur's Gate 3. Obviously, didn't finish all of them. Didn't finish most of them. But every time I play and get reasonably far into the game, I find something new that I didn't see on a previous playthrough. There's just so much in that world. But yeah, that's my top 3.
Fantastic game. I'm sure we'll talk about it much deeper in the deliberations. Or go listen to our excellent podcast on it, because it genuinely is a phenomenal game. And you should devote as much time to it as you can. Yep. I am like 30 minutes from beating the game.
All right. That brings it to me to close out at least this part. So my number 3 game is a game I played earlier in the year called Hi-Fi Rush.
Hey, I'm happy to see it up so high.
Yeah, I'm not a beat-em-up game kind of guy. So in order for me to even start to play one, it has to have something like really good, to really catch my eye. Making every environment and every combo, every enemy, literally everything in the world move to the same beat as you play through the game. What a wild concept that they really put together really well in this. And I went through this game thinking, oh, it's nothing much. Then you start getting the hang of it, and you can't help but, like, in the idle animations, your character's just always moving, tapping his foot, shaking his little magnet stick kind of thing. You can't help but, like, you're playing along, and you realize, oh, you're tapping your foot to the beat the entire time as well, even while you're playing through fighting this giant boss. And it takes, like, an exceptional amount of, like, dedication to make a game like this to be able to actually move well and function well while having everything going along to the same beat. It's kind of crazy that, like, you have to make all these custom animations that go specifically off of this at this interval, and just the idea of it is, like, bonkers and bizarre. So going through this game and playing as the main character, voiced by Robbie Damon, that's another thing that got me on it, because I was in a Robbie Damon kick. I still am, honestly. Robbie Damon's so good. And so going through this game, and I really enjoyed the story of it. There were a couple twists in there. I like a good twist in a story. Whenever it gave you the twists, like a couple of the twists in the game, it was like a really cool moment. And man, it's so colorful and so expressive, this game. And I couldn't help not smiling while I was playing this game, even whenever I was beating my head into the wall trying to keep up a combo meter against certain enemies to get a certain achievement. So that brings it to my number 2. And I'm going to start this one exactly how Walker started a statement. Every once in a while, a game comes out that is tailor-made for you. And for me, that game this year was Jasant. I love rock climbing. I love watching it. I love doing it. And I love playing this game, which allows you to climb up. It's a short little indie experience, but they pack so much into it. You're going up in this post-apocalyptic world that has no water, trying to reach these mountains that are the size of, like, it's almost like you're climbing the shelf of, like, the Marianas Trench with no water, pretty much. And you're sitting there climbing, you're finding all these seashells that, whenever you listen to them, you hear the memories of what the water used to do in this community where you found it. How it brought joy to the kids whenever they used to splash in it, and how everyone took it for granted. And now that it's gone, you're the only one here. You're the only person that you meet in the entire, the character player is the only person you see in the entire game. You're traveling with this little He's almost like a water balloon looking. Say that again.
Oh, the mic's peaking. I'm sorry. He's a little blobby boy.
Yeah, he's a little blobby boy, and so you're going through climbing this mountain to try and find a way to bring the water back. While in the meantime, you're learning about people that used to live in the area. As you are following along with the story of someone who went on this excavation to try and find a way to stop the water from going away in the first place, and you follow in her footsteps the entire time. All the while, you're just climbing this giant mountain, and you get to look up and see, well, that looks impossible, but you eventually get there. And then, like, later on in the game, instead of looking up, you find yourself looking down, and you're like, man, I started from down there and now I'm here. It's kind of crazy. And like, there are a lot of background stories that deal with like a lot of the stuff I dealt with as a kid, like growing up, like having to grow up too early and moving out, and like just a lot of things I struggled with as a kid. I found a lot of like ways that this game expressed my troubles, and it was just a really good game, and I fucking loved every minute of it. And I would love to put it as number one, except that I've found a game that I felt this way before, like multiple times. Like the first one was probably Borderlands 2, honestly, that I felt like, oh, this is the game for me because I just loved playing it so much. Sekiro was like that. Something. My number one is something that I find that's even rarer for me, and it's a game that's completely sparked my interest or re-sparked my interest in a universe that I'd completely like gone off the deep end, like didn't care for anymore. I'd thrown to the side and didn't want to associate with anymore, and that's Jedi Survivor. Because it got me reinvigorated in the Star Wars universe again. This game combines a lot of the things that some of my favorite types of games have. You get your exploration, you get your Dark Souls combat, with like you get these giant creatures that you have to fight and stop yourself from. You get these very meaningful NPCs that you find yourself loving and find yourself hurting every single time something bad happens to them. And then to top it all off, they hit you with a couple of twists and turns in the game that you're not expecting. And to like the peak, you think the peak climax of this game is whenever you're sitting there facing Vader, essentially. Which it is a really good peak, but that's not even the peak of the game for me. The peak of the game for me is whenever you find out that Bode betrays you in the end, and betrays you, and it like just flips the entire game on its head, and you're like, what the fuck? He's been a Jedi the entire time while you've been sitting out here thinking you're one of the few handfuls left.
They truly spaced that twist out just perfectly. I was suspicious of that douchebag since the beginning.
The very beginning.
It got to the point where you were on the, episode 2 clone, Attack of the Clones
Coruscant
ship on, no, not Coruscant, later on, when you're on, oh god, I feel bad that I've forgotten the name of the planets, but when you're, going onto that Separatist ship to try to get back your, droid friend.
On Kobo?
Yes, on Kobo. That giant, orb, Death Star-looking ship. It's not the Death Star, but it's a big...
Oh, yeah, the Looter Hulk.
Yeah!
Lucre Hulk.
So it gets to that point in the story, and they shift it. Because there's a point where I was like, oh no, this guy is genuinely good. I like him a lot. And now I'm worried he's going to die here. But he lives. He lives. You keep going. You work together. You get up until this very end point where you think everything's going to be great. We're getting to a point now where we're going to be able to establish this colony. We've defeated the big bad guy. Now it's just the come down off of that. And then they fucking gut punch you in the worst possible time.
And the crazy part is they introduce you to what you think is the main bad guy very early on, and you fight him multiple times, and you finally beat him.
In a very cool fight, by the way.
Only for this to happen. Like, it's so crazy and devastating, and like it hits you just right, and the tee off that it leaves for what the third game, or what we hope is a third game, there's gotta be, there's no way there's not, is like you don't know whether or not your character's good or bad at this point. Like, you assume he's good, but he's dipped so far, like so much into the bad in the back like quarter of that game that you're like, I don't exactly know anymore.
Balanced and learning. I think genuinely, I am not upset by any of these number one choices. I'm not upset by any of these top 3 choices from anyone. These are all phenomenal games. How the fuck are we gonna score this?
Okay.
We're not doing anything numerically or anything like that. Yeah. So, like, we're going to have an active discussion. I think
a top 5 makes sense.
I think a top 5 makes sense with a couple of, like, definitely a couple of honorable mentions.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, honorable mentions be games that maybe we didn't play, that all of us didn't play, but, like, should be on there. Like, for instance, I think Chance of Sonar should definitely be an honorable mention, because that one perked my interest, and I definitely want to go play that one, but I didn't get to play it.
It's not just on Switch, I found out. It's also on Xbox, and it's pretty cheap. Yeah, agreed. Same with, like, Jusant. I'm really upset that I didn't get to play this year. It seems like it's the kind of game that would really tickle my fancy.
Mm-hmm. The same thing, like, I also feel like, and you can fight back on this if you want, Brady, but I didn't get to play Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, but I definitely think it should be in our top 5.
Yeah, I think so. My thought was, sorry, Walker, I'm just going to assume Outer Wilds we're not even continuing.
No, that is more than fair, I think.
My thought is we'll get like our top 3 and any that makes sense to include, and have like a pool of the best games, but like limit it to our top ones, and then choose top 5 from that. Just kind of going through each game. I think like Legend of Zelda, Baldur's Gate 3, Jedi Survivor, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, and Jusant. Maybe Hogwarts Legacy, since we all had that.
I think Hogwarts Legacy should be on there. It's one that we all played.
Agreed.
That's one of the only other ones, though, that I would add that's outside of our top 3.
Yeah, let's say.
And that gives us like a good 7 lists, so we're not... It gives us enough to talk about, and also gives us a couple of honorable mentions.
Yeah, I'm going to go through and read them off now, just to make sure we don't have anything I feel like should be on there. I didn't have time to play it, so I don't know how good it is, but Liza P is probably one of those in there that's in the honorable mention list, because that does seem like right up my alley. Baldur's Gate 3, Jedi Survivor, Final Fantasy 16, definitely. Like, we just need to get a PlayStation 5. Honestly,
it's honestly, I'm heartbroken because I mean I haven't played I want to play the Spider-Man game so bad. I haven't played Miles Morales, which is destroying my soul.
That's the first one that I thought of, or I was thinking of as we were going through the list. Whenever you mentioned Spider-Man 2, I'm like, I don't know if, I kind of think Spider-Man 2 might be, should be in our top 5 maybe, or at least be an honorable mention kind of thing. So
yeah, I think honorable mention makes the most sense since neither of you played it, so it wouldn't be fair to really put it in the top 5. I don't think it's on the same echelon as Legend of Zelda, because Legend of Zelda I think should probably be in the top 5. Yeah,
the only one from my list, and we can easily resort this to be an honorable mention, that I could see that would be Dredge. Did y'all have any interest in Dredge that you think you're gonna play it?
Honestly, looking at your list, Lethal Company is the one I would put as an honorable mention above it, because I've heard more about Lethal Company.
Dredge is one of those ones where I've been interested to play, but I think I agree with Brady. The amount of
hype,
the fact it took the world, the whole internet by storm for about 2 weeks, and it was the 2 weeks I was fucking gone for.
Yeah.
I think, would you be okay with letting Zelda and Final Fantasy 16 share a spot? Does that sound okay? Is that dumb? Should we not do that? because I feel like slotting it into 5 makes sense.
Honestly, we can take the list that we have down here and make as many spots as we want. We don't have to limit it to 5, so we could do.
Oh, that's fair.
Kind of thing. If we really wanted, we could pull out and make a 10 here.
So here, pulling back the curtain a little bit, I'm thinking maybe we do a top 3. Ooh. Because there are 3 games that we've all ranked highly that we've all played.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate, Jedi Survivor, and Hogwarts Legacy. Anything else is going to have, the other highly ranked games, Legends of Zelda, Final Fantasy 16, Hi-Fi Rush, Jusant, have all only been played by one person.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly fine putting, Legends of Zelda, Hi-Fi Rush, or Final Fantasy 16 in the top 5. I feel weird trying to rank those.
Yeah, maybe we can have, maybe they all share a spot. Our freebie game.
Our, one-off.
Our personal recommendation.
Personal recommendation. We all agree that this is a very good game that we all want to play. We just haven't played it.
Yes.
And can't officially rank it. Share a number 4 spot. And then do the other 3.
Yeah, I think I would be comfortable with that. It would be less of a slugfest.
Yeah. I mean, we've also we've been talking for a while about lists, so I think keeping it limited to top 3 makes sense to me. But
the main issue with doing it as a top 3 like that, everyone knows what the top 3 is going to look like.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone knows what
But to be fair, I don't think there's any getting around that period unless we start slugging each other over whether or not Tears of the Kingdom should be number 1 or Outer Wilds, right?
Yeah.
So...
we could do a top 10. That way we could put Starfield as number 10 and piss everyone off.
I wouldn't put,
I don't even think.
If we were doing a group top 10, I wouldn't put Starfield on it.
Oh, shit.
I just wouldn't. Sorry.
Damn.
Oh, man.
And I'm the one that played it. Wouldn't put Starfield in the top 10.
Oh, man.
I wanted to like Starfield so much more than
I wanted to so bad.
I haven't played it yet. I plan on playing at least a little bit of it.
The second I got into the ship, I was just like, okay, this is clunky as fuck. I don't vibe with this at all.
I don't know why they didn't make it in, try and, make it in a new engine instead. I mean, I don't know. If they don't say they're updating their engine for the next, their next game, I think that's a bad move.
I think they just need to rethink. I think they need to rethink their design philosophy a little bit.
Yeah, that too.
In general, I mean, the appeal of the Fallout and Skyrim was that it was kind of a novelty, right? You didn't have any other games where you could just kind of oh, fuck, I can go to there, I can do this thing.
It was novelty, but also the thing about Skyrim that people like so much was it was an incredibly handcrafted world.
Yes.
Where every stone you turn over has something unique and interesting going on. So it's it was a novelty in that it was one of the first big open worlds like that.
Mm-hmm.
And literally changed the face of gaming in doing so because now everyone wants to make their things open world. But also, it wasn't an empty open world. It was unique at the time, but it also did open world games better than anyone had done and would do for a while.
Yeah, agreed.
But we're past that now.
Yeah.
And you can't just make Skyrim, put it in space, put a little less effort into the world building.
The biggest issue is their biggest selling point was the sheer size, right? And as I'm sure we can all contend to here, size does not matter.
Yeah,
especially when it comes to a game like this.
I don't know about that necessarily.
No. I think we agree. I think we're in full agreement. But in all seriousness, I saw there was a meme that went around a while ago.
Hang on before we continue. Yeah, size does not matter, especially whenever they give you a Saga game for the price of a real game. So you know what?
Yeah. You know what? Actually, size can matter.
No, I want more games that are... There are obviously some exceptions to this statement, but I want more games that are smaller in scope, but truly handcrafted and put out like that.
like Tunic.
Don't think it's exactly an experience that is exceptionally polished, refined. Not every game needs to be an open world battle pass, like battle royale to the end to be good. I think there's genuinely so much more that is like built into these experiences if you have the time to put in this polish and make something that is like built with love through, if not every inch, almost every inch of the world, right? I was jokingly gonna put the Frog Detective Collection on this list because the game takes about 30 minutes to beat, and it is fucking hilarious. And it's just like it's a shitty little thing that has a lot of love put into it, and I think that's what that's the kind of things that I like. That being said, Baldur's Gate fucking slapped, and that was huge, but that obviously had a ton of care put into it.
Yeah. It again, it's not. I hate that I'm saying it. Size doesn't matter. It's about how you use the size you have. Baldur's Gate used every inch.
Oh my god! I'm so glad this is the what we're going out in this year on.
Okay, so anyway,
I'm glad we had a dedicated.
Huh?
I'm glad we had a dedicated shit on Starfield segment. I am very happy about that.
Great. Cool. So how are we doing our top rankings, and how many rankings are we doing?
So, I think with this, we go through and we see like how many of these games, since of the ones that only one of us played, I think we go through and we see if like which games we would want to play, like we would actually like we'll actively like try to play. I think out of it, and that way we can actually like put them in a list that way. Because for instance, like I do want to play Final Fantasy 16 and Spider-Man 2, but the one I'm more excited to play if I were to play that would be Spider-Man 2. So I would rank it higher than.
So are we doing a list of 10? Are we doing a list of 5?
That's
or
what
a
I'm
list
asking.
of 3?
Because
I think
the 3 thing is too little.
Not too little.
Yeah.
I'm of the opinion that 10 is a little too much.
How about a nice healthy 5? A lovely little middle ground.
7.
Sweet.
All right, now remember, it's important how we use this 5. All right, so 1 through 3 are filled out, right?
1 through 3 is going to be some combination of Baldur's Gate, Jedi Survivor, and Hogwarts Legacy.
I don't even think you need to like say some order. That's just the order.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead. Throw hands. I'm ready.
I don't think Hogwarts Legacy is going to be in our top 3.
No, what do you think? I mean,
I honestly, from what I've seen, I would put Legend of Zelda above Hogwarts Legacy.
Yes.
I just can't. I can't put Legend of Zelda above Hogwarts Legacy because I haven't played Legend of Zelda.
Neither have I, but I like.
If you are confident enough to put it above there, then it gets the number 3 slot because that's Walker, and you obviously think it's better than Hogwarts.
See, that's
I'm fine with that. I'm not upset by that decision.
Yeah,
I just can't do it myself.
That's why I think like we should like go through these and see like what we think.
Well,
so
in that case,
so
let's
if we're doing
stop.
5,
We're going 1 through 5.
Yeah.
I think from now on we just need to start at the bottom.
Yeah. So
this is actually
so
and we're actually going through the list now.
Yeah. So let's
we're no longer talking about it. We're doing it.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and like of these 10 that we have. Let me list them for everyone first. We have Jedi Survivor, Zelda, Baldur's Gate 3, Hogwarts Legacy, Hi-Fi Rush, Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2, Lethal Company, Dredge, and Chance of Sonar. Like, let's just go ahead and knock out 3 to make it easy. Like, I think we knock out Dredge, Chance of Sonar, and what would the third one be for you guys?
For me, it'd be Lethal Company.
Yeah, agreed. I think I love Chance of Sonar. I want to play Lethal Company, and Dredge looks like genuinely like a really good game for me. Just compare to the other ones that are up here.
No hate on any of those games.
No, not even
but
slightly.
I'm looking more forward to the other 7.
And the funny thing is, if we do get our big group together to play Lethal Company, that might actually y'all might actually end up liking it
Trent,
more.
Did you put Jasant in your list of 10?
No, I'm not. I didn't because I felt like that.
I feel like Jason's one of those ones that I'm very excited to play, very similarly to how
I would.
you were talking about Zelda.
I mean, it went to your number 2, dude. I feel like it can be on the list.
Yeah. Honestly, if you
yeah,
want
but
to,
honestly, putting it on the list would make it harder.
Yeah, it would.
It would. I think let's do it. We gotta have at
Let's
least one throwdown.
Oh man. Okay.
Okay, so we have a top 8.
Okay, top 8 currently. We need to remove 3.
Well, let's remove 3. Let's remove 3. Which 3? Okay, so
Just Nat.
I think I'll volunteer one of mine. I think Spider-Man 2 can go away.
Really? Oh, you would.
I see. I disagree with that
because I think the next 2 that need to go away after Spider-Man are Jasant and Hi-Fi. I think Jasant, Hi-Fi, and Spider-Man 2.
I think Final Fantasy and Hi-Fi need to go after Spider-Man.
Okay.
Fuck, this is where it gets genuinely
hard.
hard.
Yeah, exactly. This is where it gets genuinely hard. So let's put it this way, Walker. Out of the 2 out of the 2 that we have here, Jasant and Hi-Fi Rush, which would you be more likely to play?
Realistically, I'm gonna play Jasant first.
Okay.
What about you, Brady?
Think
Jasant and Hi-Fi. I'm going to play Jasant before I play Hi-Fi.
All right, then we get rid of Hi-Fi then. So now we take the 2 of Brady's, Walker out of Final Fantasy 16 and Spider-Man 2. Which are you more likely to play?
This feels disrespectful.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
Don't worry, you're next. Well,
I can't be.
Well,
I think after this one we choose between Jasant and Spider-Man 2, right? I'm assuming that's
so actually yeah. So I think Spider-Man 2 deserves the top 5. Honestly, like it should go in here because it's like the only reason me and Walker didn't play it is because we don't have.
Is because you don't have it.
Yeah.
We think Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man 2 deserves top 5 over Jasant, but that's because I played it.
Yeah.
But if you think it's Spider-Man 2 in 5th slot, that works for me.
Yeah, I don't think I can argue that too much.
I mean, there's always an argument to be made, but I think between the 3 of us, Spider-Man 2 number 5 makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Well, that.
So we have our list.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. We need to go number 4.
Spider-Man 2 makes number 5. Okay.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Locked in is number 5.
So the options are it's Zelda or Hogwarts. So real quick recap for those listening. Right now on our list, what we have remaining, we have 4 options left. We have Jedi Survivor, we have Zelda, we have Baldur's Gate, we have Hogwarts.
So
I would put, personally, Hogwarts Legacy at 4.
Yeah, I think that's what we had said, and it also, well, that it also makes it to where that's literally we're discussing between our top ones.
Yep. Well, let's be honest. Legend of Zelda's getting 3.
I'm happy that it's getting 3.
Okay.
I'm very happy that it's getting 3. I think we see how this list is boiling down. I don't think
Legacy.
Perfect.
Hogwarts Legacy number 3, Legend of Zelda,
Tears of the Kingdom,
and I feel like.
All right, this is where we
Trent's
have to
gonna want to throw down.
I don't know that this is a throwdown. I think you think it is, but I don't think it is. I think Jedi Survivor number 2, Baldur's Gate 3 number 1.
I think I agree. I think it is, in fact, Jedi Survivor number 2, Baldur's Gate at 1.5, and Outer Wilds at 1. Any disagreement? I didn't hear any disagreement. All right, folks, that is the joystick frequency.
So, no, if Outer Wilds came out in 2023, I'd agree.
Yeah.
I know. Hey, technicality.
I genuinely think Jedi Survivor is fantastic. It had everything I
10
really
out of 10.
wanted.
10 out of 10.
It is still a number 2 in a 3-part series. I think if they are going the way that they're going right now, the 3rd one is going to be Game of the Year in whatever year it comes out in.
Now,
But
yeah.
I think that's going to be hard to do because it's the same reason like Zelda Breath of the Wild not getting it this year. Or not Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom not getting it this year.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, yeah, there's
like,
always a chance that something could come in and sweep, right?
Yeah, but it's less that. It's more of like Jedi Survivor. It's like the third one. It's not going to be like original anymore. They improved on a lot of the things from one and added some new stuff. Like it's going to be hard to improve on what they've already improved on, as well as like add new stuff that's not going to make this just a complete like too big of a game essentially, which is an argument I actually have for Baldur's Gate 3.
Now, question, you're saying too big. Is it because you're trying to do everything in one run when it's something that's meant to be a fresh experience? Each run through. Well, so you have multiple run throughs. That's kind of like the balancing, right? Is it too much because you feel the need to see it all? And not just let some stories exist?
No, I feel like it's too much in the fact that I've gotten to the third act and it doesn't have the same polish that Act 1 and 2 does. And you can really see it. I've had several instances where I'm trying to do something that is illegal, that I'm getting seen by someone outside the building I'm in through a wall and multiple things. Not only that, I feel like there are a couple of other, like, and this might be, like, sound just a little nitpicking. I think some of the puzzles, they are way too focused on you solving it their way. There are a bunch of puzzles where I've tried thinking it through like my way, and it doesn't work, breaks it, says I failed, and I get punished for it, kind of thing. One example I can give that I actually did last night in the Temple of Baldurin. There's one of the tests. There is a test of courage where you have to survive 4 waves of elementals with this torch. My first instinct was to blink, because that's surviving. I blink and instantly fail the challenge.
Because the torch went out? Or because you weren't in the area?
Yes. And that's...
You went to a different plane.
And that's a unique... that is a unique way of solving that I feel like they should have accounted for whenever they've done such in-depth stuff for, like, specific other quests and dialogue and stuff like this. That, like, you should, there's a whole lot less polish in...
See, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I do agree that there is some places where there is less polish in Act 3. I think that's partially because the game is big. I think it's also partially because once you get to the Act 3, there's just a lot more branches of ways things could go. Like, when you're starting from the beginning, it's real easy to... Like, there's just a lot more moving parts by the time you get to the third act, so it's harder to polish. But I hard disagree about the puzzle solving thing. I think that as a DM, if my goal was, hey, keep this torch lit, and your solution was to leave the area, I could see a place where I rule that as a DM and not necessarily... maybe this example was bad. I don't think that's a way that they didn't think of ways to solve the puzzle. I think that's just your way of thinking to solve the puzzle didn't work.
Another thing, same temple. I really really just the Temple of Baldurin.
Honestly, the Temple of Baldurin is my least favorite temple, if that makes you feel better.
Hey y'all, what the fuck's the Temple of Baldurin?
Did you not do Will's side quest?
Oh, is it part of Will? Will's side quest broke for me.
Oh no.
So Missouri wouldn't finish the deal. Something glitched his. I don't know, but she wouldn't talk to us to continue the quest. So he's just chilling.
Do you do anything with his dad?
His dad died when I found him.
Oh yeah, that would also do it. Okay.
And
if you save his dad, you get a quest.
To be fair, that's it. We let Will out of his pact. That felt like the right thing to do. You can hire you can elect a new king. That's fine.
So the one with the judge and the sentence one is like very much restricted to like only a very, very few things that if you don't have that thing in your party that you're ready for, you can't do that challenge.
Okay.
And I didn't because of my party that I'm playing with 2 people and then 1 NPC that I swap in and out depending on stuff, depending on whose quest it is. So I had Will with us because this is the quest for Will. So none of us had the banishment spell that we needed to get rid of the judge, which is like the most common way that puzzle is solved. And that is only available to a couple of spell classes. Holding on to a scroll of it for specifically that whenever you could have used it at any other points, or a couple of unique what did Smurf say it was? My friend Smurf is the one who was like telling me about this after I finally had figured it out and tried cast Banish it on it because I happen to have a
what quest is this?
It's the Baldurin quest. It's the
Banish on the judge.
Yeah, the judge. Whenever you look at the pictures around, you look at the pictures around the wall and have to.
Oh, I didn't know you could use banishment to solve that quest.
Yeah, and that thing is immune to everything else. Immune to all damage. You can't talk to it.
Remove curse works.
Either way, there were a few puzzles that had a very niche way or very limited way of solving them. Also, the chess puzzle for me was
to
jank.
counteract what you're saying here, just a touch. You're saying very niche way. You know, there are Pokemon you have to get fucking the shit kicked out of them. You have to let them take 150 damage or something. You drive under a random
150 damage. You can't faint at any point between taking that damage.
Yeah, and then you have to drive underneath a random rock that's not labeled in any way. There are
and Pokemon
situations that
was my number 1 last year,
and that wasn't Legend Arceus that was from. So
Legion?
I wasn't referring to Bastion
He was
Legion.
talking about something else.
Yeah, I was talking about
Bastion.
Galarian Mask.
But I don't know why some incredible specificity isn't necessarily make a game worse.
Yeah, and with there being limited solutions to a puzzle,
there's a cumulative list, and so I'm just giving what my experience and my opinion on the game is. I feel like it was pretty stellar for the first bit, and then it started getting pretty clunky towards the end. I just wanted I'm full on okay with this taking number 1. I just wanted to voice that there are gripes. It's not a perfect game, kind of thing. I just wanted to give my argument for why I would put Jedi Survivor above it.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, just like
just like it's fair that Baldur's Gate 3 is going to get number 1. Right? Is that what we've decided?
Also want to bring out the fact, Brady, you didn't play Elden Ring last year, did you?
That's true. I played it a little bit. I did play it. I sunk more hours than I like to admit.
Yeah. I also want to point out that you would say Elden Ring / Dark Souls combat is very apparent in Jedi Survivor, yeah?
Sure.
And,
kind of.
And in Jedi Survivor, you were the one that did the playthrough where you die, where you die in one hit.
Yeah, that's true.
That is.
Hey, guess what? Guess something else. I can change the difficulty in Jedi Survivor. The difficulty, you can change it. It's not always on hardcore mode. That's why I can play those games.
Mm.
I do think what you're saying is about. I do understand the point you're making.
Yeah.
Which is that it got me to like a Souls-like game, and that's fair.
It got you to play, specifically, it got you to play a mode that would be insanely hard, and you enjoyed it, and you played through it, which does speak mounts for it.
In defense of Jedi Survivor, it is a game that as soon as I finished my first run of the game, didn't do anything else. I just started a second run of the game, and that almost never happens with me.
Yeah.
So that's a fair point. Baldur's Gate 3 is still number one.
Yeah.
But
the last thing I will say about Jedi Survivor is the bit with the mech worm at the Sand Temple made all three of us fucking go absolutely giddy with how fucking good that sequence was, and that is just such a it's a core memory for me now. Whenever we discuss that on the podcast and how good it was, it's literally a core memory for me now because we all just gushed about that fucking sequence, and that is one of the best sequences I've had in a video game. Another one of the best sequences I've had in the video game is actually at the end of Alderin's temple. Whenever you find the undead dragon that comes to life and you fight. That was sick as fuck, and Baldur's Gate's number one.
Yeah. Yep. So Jedi Survivor is number 2. Baldur's Gate 3 is number 1. Our official Joystick Frequency Game of the Year is Baldur's Gate 3.
Surprising literally no one.
Absolutely nobody.
Last year, we were convinced, oh yeah, it's gonna be Elden Ring. Then we're like, you sure about that?
Then we
Tunic.
Also last year we did some jank with numerical math stuff.
Yeah.
Instead of making a decision, and I was okay with it because I didn't like Elden Ring. So, I think this is a better way of judging it because Elden Ring probably should have won last year. Now that we've already declared something else the Game of the Year, I can admit.
I disagree. I still think.
Wait, what
Tunic
was our
one.
Game of the Year last year?
Tunic.
Oh yeah, fuck that. Never mind. No, Tunic definitely should have won. I forgot that was last year. Never mind. Ignore me.
No, yeah.
Elden Ring should have been number 2.
Elden Ring was number 2.
Okay, well then we were absolutely right last year to rank things the way we did. And I apologize for doubting us.
Which means that in conjunction with this year's list, which I will repeat is in number 5th. What? In number 5th? Yeah, in number 5th place, you have Spider-Man 2. Number 4th, you've got Hogwarts Legacy. Number 3rd, Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. 2nd, Jedi Survivor. And number 1, Baldur's Gate 3. Once again, I think we have the perfect system figured out for just determining best games. I think we have a 100% success ratio. And
we got it
games that are
absolutely
good.
right this time, I think. Yeah, I don't know how we could be doing our jobs any better. So
No, yeah, this is it.
Our
So
job,
again, go,
guys, hang on.
go.
This isn't our job. This is our job. Please.
Go support us on Patreon right now.
support us on Patreon.
At the Joystick Frequency.
Remember, guys, our top 3 patrons of this month are getting exclusive feet pics from Trent. So, if you want to see those toesies, make sure you donate.
I have a gnarly fucking hangnail right now. I got caught on something, and it's
and we know that you people listening are the exact freaks that would eat that shit up. Let's go. Nom, nom, nom.
We're already sold. We've already sold them on it. You don't need to keep selling that.
And other non-related news, hey Castle, whenever you get done editing this podcast and you hear this little bit, be sure to reach out to me about creating a Patreon.
All right.
All right.
I think that's pretty done and dusted there.
So, do it for us today.
So to end it, I want to say, because I'm pretty sure and safe that this will end up being the next one, join us for... and we'll talk about it, see if we can manage to do it. It will be, it is our anniversary episode again. So maybe if we might be able to do it in person, we'll have to see. No promises there. But I'm pretty sure we're going to be discussing Pal World. So,
interesting. Oh, that's a bold claim.
Yeah, I'm almost certain we're going to be discussing that because y'all two have already played it, and that's rare for me to be the last one hopping on a new game. So,
well, if that is the plan, we definitely need to play open a world together.
Yeah. I don't know if there's crossplay. We'll figure it out. But anyway, thank y'all for tuning into the Joystick Frequency. And thank you for another year of it. We'll bring you the top 10 next year as well, hopefully. And we'll see you next month. So catch you on the next wavelength. Say bye, guys.
Laters.
Goodbye.